Hi everyone and welcome to another video. After the chaotic environment of the colour walk that you'll have seen in my previous video, we took the tube to Embankment and we had a gentle stroll along the Thames, enjoying the warm weather, crossing Westminster Bridge and headed for Waterloo Station. We had researched Leake Street arches but weren't expecting the full impact of the sight that would greet us. I decided that I was going to experiment and shoot exclusively with my Rokinon 8mm fisheye lens. Settings had to be set manually for distance, so I set it to infinity, and for aperture. And as it was a low light environment, I set the aperture to 3.5. In camera, the ISO was set to 3200, that's my Canon 40D's highest setting, and I adjusted for exposure compensation using the scroll wheel as I was shooting. When you have a lens like this, you get used to knowing how to use it and what sort of adjustments you might need to make. Now, with a 167-degree view on a crop sensor, the lens lets in more light than you think. It does take a couple of shots to experiment with exposure. But I'm off or underexposing by 2/3 of a stop, and that was the case on this shoot. And I also wanted to make sure I wasn't blowing out any highlights, because there was some lighting above us in some of the areas, and also with the end of the tunnel, if that was in the shot as well, which it is in quite a few of them. Due to elevated symptoms, I wasn't functioning enough to think about pieces to camera. And I'm also still a bit self-conscious of vlogging out in the street. It's easier in the woodland and nature, where there's nobody around or very few people, but in the street it's still something I'm getting used to, especially with holding my phone. So I just enjoyed the distraction of my photography, and you'll see the still images in this video. The arches are an ever-changing canvas. It's a location that actively encourages artists to share their skills. We were shooting for about an hour. It really is an environment, with the artwork and the public taking it all in, that offers quite a lot of photographic potential. And after the manic full-on session of the colour walk, I found it very calming and could feel my brain and body decompressing. Although I was still in a lot of pain with increased fatigue and very challenging brain fog and coordination. Using the fisheye lens was a great choice, in my humble opinion. While my friend was using a 10mm lens on his Fuji, it didn't have the curve that allowed my lens to capture what I was standing next to and sweep around to get in a lot more of the tunnel, plus the curvature on the ceiling of the tunnels. For example, to get this image I was standing right next to the artwork of the woman's face, but the curve provided by the lens allowed me to include a lot more detail. This is the first time, I have to be honest, that anyone has been envious of any of my kit, and I think bar one lens, my 50mm, all of my kit is previously owned by other people. We wandered back to Embankment to get some air, and having seen what my lens could do in the tunnels, my friend wanted to see how the fisheye lens would handle some blue hour shots from Westminster Bridge. Now, I took a few, but because of the coordination, the immense amount of cognitive decline I was experiencing with the sensitivity in my spine, etc., and the long day, I didn't really play with the settings properly. But I have one image that I'll share with you that I took, which I'm pleased with, and here it is. So I thought I'd do a little addition to this video. Printing is not something I tend to do or have done, mainly a cost issue, not having the paper, etc. And my printer is just a basic 4 cartridge inkjet printer. But recently at Photographic Club, somebody brought in some boxes of paper from somebody else that was having a clear out. So we were helping ourselves to these, and I acquired this box here. It's not glossy, it's got a nice luster on it. So I had to play with my printer with a few little bits and pieces, did some sort of thumbnail shots on, just to see how they came out on the printer, and realised that I had to do some adjustments to get the images to come out a bit brighter, etc. Were they too dark, too bright? How, it looks good on the screen, how does it look on paper? But there's one image in particular from this shoot at Leake Street Arches which caught my attention, and I thought, I think I really need to have a go at testing the print for this shot. Here's the image here digitally, and now I'm going to show you the print. Now I know it's not lined up centrally on the paper. I'm still trying to work out that setting on the printer that I need to click, or whether I need to create it as an A4 document and then change one of the settings in there. But as far as testing the print quality of the printer and the paper, I'm really pleased with how this has come out. There was a slight adjustment to the digital version to brighten it a little bit just on the exposure, so that it wasn't too dark. But I have to say, I think for sort of a first attempt at printing, I'm really pleased with that, apart from the fact that it's not quite aligned centrally. But that doesn't matter, it's just for showing. I don't think it will go up at home. It's not the kind of mood at home we want on the walls, but it's good to have in my folder of any prints that I decide to do and share at a club, etc. And it is nice holding a physical print of it and being able to see it like this. It's also a good test of the quality of the fisheye lens. Yes, there's post-processing, there's a bit of sharpening, etc. As well as the other adjustments I've made to bring out the detail in the face of the portrait up here, adjustments for highlights, etc. But I think overall, I'm really happy with that. The writing on this wall here is sharp, the face here is sharp, and yeah, I'll just hold that up there for you guys to see. And yeah, I'm really pleased with that. It's a test of the fisheye quality as well, the fisheye lens, and I'm really pleased with how that came out. So the fibro paid back. The following day, I really couldn't stand, sit or walk because of the pain. My coordination and balance was way off, and screen use completely out of the question. It was just a case of getting through the day the best I could. Thankfully, it did start to ease the day after, and saying that, it was still very challenging for days afterwards. Plus, I have to remember I was still experiencing elevated symptoms from the virus that I had in early February. But I do honestly think that my recovery is, I say, easier, for want of a better word, because of the effort and I put into maintaining my self-management routine. That I've spoken about this on my blog. This is the Juggling Active Life with Fibro, but by adhering to my routine most days, it allows me to have the very occasional day where I can push it a bit too far. Otherwise, I think that would be completely unthinkable.